Welcome back to the Thronebreaker, the Witcher Tales. Bonebreaker difficulty. Honestly, it hasn't been that difficult, but then again, I know how to play Gwent to an extent. I'm no expert at it, but I do know the basics of it well enough, I suppose. I mean, should we trust them? Alright. We do have the coin anyway. A lot of coin. Let's just put it mildly.
Get up. Curse a black brook veil's been undone. We would take root neath Mount Carbon where it's warmer, but allotments for the We would take root neath Mount Carbon. Get up. Four dwarfs codex.
Riding past a mine, Meve noticed a group of miners gathered around the entrance to a shaft. Frost had settled on their moustaches and beards, suggesting they had been there for some time. The Queen summoned Gabor and asked him to determine the reason for this sit-in. He returned after a few minutes and announced the most curious thing.
They're waiting for the knocking to stop.
Meve's frown prompted Gabor to explain in greater detail.
According to our laws, dwarves can't go into a mine if there's knocking coming from inside. We're obliged to wait for the ruckus to quieten down.
Ah, yes. Our own miners share this superstition.
Reynard interjected.
They say the knocking is that of a treasure unknown, a kind of mine ghost.
With all due respect, your miners are dimwits.
Gabor said, patting Reynard on the shoulder.
Knocking means an imminent and abrupt discharge of the potential pliable energy of rock formations. In other words, you can, a rock burst. Except usually it's all done in a day or two, whereas these lads have been waiting going on 2 weeks. Foreman's grown impatient. He'd like to send someone down the shaft, have them see what's at issue, but, well, the code forbids us from doing anything of the sort.
If in this manner I can gain favor among your brethren,
sighed the Queen, dismounting.
So be it. I shall descend and see what the problem is.
The shaft was too narrow to fit an entire army, so Meve and a small unit of men entered the mine, miners' lamps in hand, and hearts in their mouths. The rhythmic knocking coming from the bowels of the mountains, distorted and multiplied, was unnerving. Soon the company arrived at the place that seemed the source of the knocking. Gabor put his ear to the rock and listened for several moments in silence, then struck the wall with all his might. The wall crumbled with a crash, opening a passage into another corridor, from which sprang numerous foes.
Alright then. Monsters, I imagine. Yeah. Standard battle? I don't know. I don't have my army with me.
Did you hear something? What was that?
My gnome senses are telling me. Not supposed to be any smoke.
Smoke?
One bolt I need.
Who goes there? Drop your weapons!
What the fuck?
You drop yours!
Oh, I see what's going on here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm dealing with over here, but still.
Left, right, left, right.
Who just grabbed me?
Oh, apologies, Maeve. I thought you were Reynard. Again and again and again.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Groping the Queen, huh? I guess so. I still have no clue what I'm dealing with over here. Shadowy.
The white of an eye from half a league away.
Oh, this is bad.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Give me a target.
Okay. I'll have to move the Manticore trophy.
Getting to work.
Quick and painful this'll be.
Arbalista, your command.
We must trust each other.
What do you want of me?
What? Oh, yes, I'm on it.
Oh, crap.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Make love, not war.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
He's got 2 more cards.
Reynard, are we winning? I can't see a bloody thing.
Well, I think we have won.
Stop! Stop! We surrender!
Just what the hell are you? Who the hell are you? Guess we'll find out.
Both sides were surprised. Both fought in the weak light of torches, nearly down on hands and knees. In the end, the Queen emerged victorious, and as soon as she had returned her sword to its sheath, she asked the new prisoners a question that was on everyone's mind.
Who the devils are you?
The captives looked at each other in disbelief, as if before them stood a ghost. Finally, one of them managed to choke out a response.
Your Highness, we're your subjects.
Meve recognized the accent at once. The men came from Rivia. But what were they doing so far from home? According to the prisoner's account, after the Nilfgaardians' invasion of their kingdom, terrible poverty gripped the land. Seeking bread, some desperate inhabitants had gone to the mountains of Mahakam, engaging in wildcat mining in search of precious ores. Without asking the dwarves what they thought of this.
You know yourself, my queen,
explained one captured Riv.
They guard their treasure real jealous-like, don't care a whit about the suffering of others. They see us starving down in valley and don't lift a stubby finger.
Sadly, the Rivians had dug close to existing corridors. When Gabor destroyed the wall that stood between them and the dwarves, they were convinced they were being attacked by monsters, so they raised arms in self-defense.
Maeve, 'tis a tough nut to ken,
said Gabor.
But let's nae kid ourselves. These men are thieves, and we must hand them over to the Mahakaman Guard.
So they may do what? Sentence them to hard labor, or hang them at once?
Said Reynard, his usual calm shaken and his voice raised.
These are your subjects, Queen. They coveted their neighbors' goods, true, but only because they had nought themselves.
I'm going to regret this either way, am I not? You may go.
The foreman wished for the knocking to stop,
said the Queen.
And so it shall. As for you, go back to Rivia, and tell all their queen shall soon return, leading an army.
The grateful Rivs quickly packed up their tools and left the mountains. Meve had no doubt Gruva Hoog would soon learn of the affair and would certainly not approve of her decision. Yet she preferred to face the Elder's wrath than send her subjects to a dwarven prison, or possibly to their death.
Well, boys, we swig and we get back to work. Well, boys, we swig and we get back to work.
It would have bitten me with Reynard or someone else if I had given them in, I think. It bites me in the ass with the dwarves by not doing it.
The sound of approaching hoofbeats made Meave turn to see Reynard spurring on his panting horse, galloping at a breakneck speed towards her.
Ill tidings I bring, Your Grace.
Clearly. Glad tidings never arrive with such urgency.
Our scouts captured a Nilfgaardian messenger. He was traveling in disguise, and by night, when he realized his capture was imminent, he strove to destroy the letters he carried. We were able to salvage some, in parts.
Anything of interest?
Yes, there is, I fear. Your Majesty, you must listen. Consider your offer accepted. Direct Meave and her force to the agreed site. We await their arrival. Your reward shall be as agreed. Hail, Keritsa.
A traitor. We might have expected as much. Nilfgaard has shown amply that it abides only by the rules it sets. Since they have not proved able to defeat me in the field, in open battle, they seek other means. I suppose the scroll bears no name.
It does not, Your Grace.
The messenger. Have you questioned him?
Naturally, Your Grace. Alas, he knows not to whom the letter is directed. He was to leave it in an agreed spot.
I take it tidings of the whole affair have spread throughout the force?
Yes, Your Majesty. The witnesses were too many to keep this fact a secret.
We must thus assume the traitor in our ranks knows it as well, and will make no attempt to retrieve the scroll. A dead end. Have we any other leads or...
None, I fear, Your Majesty. We must be alert. Keep a keen eye on events as they unfold, and exercise great caution in forging new acquaintances.
Very well. Eyes wide open, all senses attuned. Yours in particular, Reynard.
Of course, my liege.
Well, without Ike, we have to deal with the situation as is. Wait, what's here? Now worth our time. Yep, not worth our time. Not worth the resources either. What's this? A troll. Do not let Meave die. Snowball fight.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Hold on.
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Hey? Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth? Have it the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Hey?
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Alright, she's fine. Victory. Puzzles, huh? Alright, we need to keep going. Oh boy.
Maeve's force neared Davor's abyss. Signs of beastly feasting were not hard to find. Countless paw and claw tracks were impressed in the blood-stained snow. Among the boulders, bones picked clean were strewn about. Gascon lifted one from the ground.
Empty inside,
He said.
Something sucked out the marrow.
Maeve's soldiers feigned indifference to the grisly sight. They marched on, their stepped rhythm unwavering, a song on their lips. Yet hearing a slight tremolo in their voices, Maeve knew they merely sought to drown out their fear. A moment later, a commander's horn sounded, the signal to halt. The Queen galloped to the fore of the column and found herself at the edge of a vast, round hole in the ground. She could not see the bottom. Maeve drew her reins tight to prevent her mount from taking even one step forward.
What is this? A crater? A desiccated lake?
A mine of the strip variety.
Gabor explained.
Treasures we picked and shoveled for here. Diamonds. Till we happened on the beasts, that is.
What now?
Orion's a dam. Holds back a lake. If we can break it, water'll rush in, fill the abyss and the tunnels from which the beasts emerge. Just need to get around the mine first. Way down's on the other side.
Maeve squinted and gazed into the distance. Indeed, there was the dam. And at its foot, a swarm of beasts roiled about. Her soldiers gazed at their queen expectantly, their arms at the ready. She knew well they would rush into battle, in spite of their fear.
Gabor!
Maeve cried out over the whirling wind.
Have you bards here in Mahakam?
Course, your grace!
Then we shall give them good reason to compose this day, on the themes of courage, of heroism, of Lyria! Gee up!
And with that cry, the queen spurred her mount, grabbed a banner, and raising it high over her head, rushed headlong at the horrid swarm.
Let us fight then. Gain 7 charges on your old catapult without being destroyed. Keep your catapult well maintained and also.
Here's the way down! We need to break through and destroy the dam!
Again and again and again.
Oh! You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Wait, I need units next to it, right?
Here's the way down! We need to break through and destroy the dam!
Yeah.
Here's the way down! We need to break through and destroy the dam!
Left, right, left, right.
I'm a one, sir.
Again and again and again.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
We'll catch 'em all! The chase is on!
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
Army's a waste of time.
We must trust each other.
As ordered.
One bolt's all I need.
What do you want of me?
Give me a target.
All right. Adjacent to it.
There's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Left, right, left, right.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket. Tell me you jest.
Yeah, yeah!
Alright, I need to keep this catapult alive.
Getting to work. Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
Not the problem.
Hey? Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Again and again and again.
Oh, I know. Pretty fucking retarded, really.
One bolt all I
I have to shoot my own shit. Maybe there is a way to avoid it. Maybe.
need. Give me a target. Our ballista at your command. Armor won't save.
Oh, sorry, turnips back for an encore.
We'll catch them all!
Excellent! The dam's about to give!
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Alright, now that I'm done. Oh crap. Yeah, that was fucking annoying as shit.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Yeah, I screwed up. I should have kept that card that boosted it. It would help immensely in this case. So I will.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Again and again and again.
What do you want of me?
What the sodding shit. Wonderful. I can't use that card, clearly.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
All right.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Hey?
Left, right, left, right.
One bolt on my knee.
What? Oh, yes, I'm on it.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides. Discipline shall bring us victory.
Give me a target. Our ballista at your command.
What do you want of me?
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Excellent! The dam's about to give!
My pain serves a purpose.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
armor won't say.
Alright, so I need to keep a slinger in reserve then. Just in case. There we go.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Give me a target.
My pain serves a purpose.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Excellent! The dam's about to give!
Alright. Necrophage.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Okay.
It worked! Look at those scanners flounder!
Excellent work!
Let them drown then.
And indeed, bards sang of this battle soon after. For no claws or fangs could break through the wall of shields the Lyrians raised that day. And no scales could protect the beasts from the Lyrians' stinging arrows and blades.
Fight! Do not relent! Let us show these beasts! It is they who should fear us!
The Queen shouted. In the end, the beasts turned to flee, yet Meave's force cut off any chance of escape. A solid wall of men began to push the monsters ever closer to the edge of Davor's abyss. Pressed from all sides, the horrors began slipping over the precipice, screeching terribly as they fell. Silence came at last. The Queen stood at the edge of the precipice, breathing heavily, leaning on her sword. From the depths of the mine came muted growls and groans.
Let's flood the dam hole,
hissed Gabor,
before any other shite crawls out of it.
A rush of icy water suddenly rose, then just as abruptly plunged into the mine, flooding the pit. And where once lay Davor's abyss, now lay Davor's pond. Meave descended back into the pass, exhausted and covered in beastly blood, yet also exceedingly pleased. She was one step closer to dwarven support in the war against Nilfgaard. Once the Lyrians had put some distance between themselves and the now destroyed monster lair, Meave ordered her men to pitch camp. Then she sent the quartermaster off for food and drink. The soldiers lit campfires, then set aside their weapons. Soon after, lively music and song could be heard throughout the camp.
Your Majesty,
Reynard said from behind Meave's back.
A messenger from the Elder-in-Chief.
The Queen turned to see a dwarf in a richly adorned jerkin and a shako with golden seams. She stifled her laugh into a smile and lifted her chin proudly, expecting praise and a pledge of aid in the war against Nilfgaard.
My lady, your daring deeds have come to the Elder's attention,
said the dwarf in a measured voice.
He's positively irate and demands an explanation.
Irate? But why? I and my men, we've aided you greatly.
Elder Hoog awaits at the Long Bridge. You'd be wise not to keep him there any length of time.
And with that, all the Queen's enthusiasm for a celebration was instantly gone. She waited until the fires expired and the songs died down, then gave the order to march.
Alright then. Oh, this is done at the very least. Fucking hell, that was a nightmare. Alright, the bridge. Well, Meave, if you're... I'm not surprised he's annoyed, though. Damn, that's a lot of gold. And go to the camp. I think I can get a bunch of upgrades now. Heh. Even so, still not enough fucking resources. That's a bit of a joke, really. Okay, I'm not gonna throw all my fucking gold on lumber. That's a bit. That would be a bit ridiculous, wouldn't it? Hold on, where is the one that I... There we go. Wait, I still missed? What the fuck? Alright, that should be enough, right? Still need more lumber, I'm afraid. Alright, the key. Think I'm done with battles in Mahakam. Well, I still have to get there, but I don't see anything that could pose a challenge. There might be a battle here or there. Alright then. What's this?
Gazing towards the horizon, Meave noticed a dark shape outlined against the mantle of snow that lay on the ground. It proved a tower, toppled and broken in pieces. Around it lay the ruins of other buildings, blocks hewn out of basalt rock protruding from the permafrost.
That'd be the Clan Vidmar ruins,
said Gabor, hollering over the wind.
Rich ones had their clan seat here till earth tremors turned all into dust. Hundreds of dwarves lived here once, and now, not a living soul.
Ah! Help! Save me!
On the contrary, there was someone midst the ruins, and said someone was clearly in trouble. Meave ordered her men to find the unfortunate soul. They returned moments later, leading a dwarf whose teeth chattered. They had found him in a ruined building where he'd sought shelter from ghouls. Judging by his appearance, the dwarf had spent the better part of a week there.
Mirko Vidmar, they call me,
he said, patting down unkempt hair that seemed to reach in all directions.
I came here seeking a family heirloom, lost in the tremors and the chaos they caused. I ken the chamber where it ought to be, but, well, beasts made their lair there. I cannot drive them off on my own. But bold warriors like you ought to cut them down in a jiffy. So, will you help?
I too have lost my home, estate,
said the Queen.
So I understand well what you feel. I shall help you recover your heirloom. Call it a whim.
Mirko Vidmar's face lit up. Though he'd spent a week besieged and eating stale biscuits, and though there was a hoarfrost in his beard, he quickly trotted to the front of the column and led the Lyrian soldiers to the underground chamber. As promised, beasts awaited there.
Alright, the battle. A shortened one shouldn't be too much of a problem. Battle after battle. I mean, they've done their best to make it so that it's not just extremely repetitive, right? As in, there's a lot of uniqueness to plenty of these things. And yet, it does get old.
The ruins! From there they come! Drive them back!
Left, right, left, right.
Ha!
In a lot of these battles, well, let's just say they leave something to be desired after all. What should I do? Doggy doggy. Knickers is on the field.
Give me a target.
That was easy. What's the catch? There's always a fucking catch somewhere. Not necessarily in the battle, mind you.
Our ballista, your command.
But in aftermath. Your last turn, boys. Oh my. Okay, I made a mistake there. Guess I should be ready for the fiend. It's a random chance artifact and I can't take random chances.
The ruins! From there they come! Drive them back!
Again and again and again.
Tell me you jest.
One bolt I need.
Company, forward march!
Army's a waste of time for
You sure about that?
Get your ass here, boy.
Give me a target. Arbalist at your command.
Left, right.
Oh damn
left,
it, all to hell.
Right.
Ha!
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Armor won't save them.
Let's get a move on before any others show up.
As soon as the fight was done, Mirko Vidmar ran towards a crate that stood on a pedestal, slipping on the now bloody floor. When the dwarf lifted the lid, precious stones spilled out.
Your heirloom? This?
Asked the queen, rather puzzled.
I thought a pipe that belonged to your grandfather more likely.
Seems to me Brother Mirko wasn't wholly candid with us. This here's no heirloom, no family souvenir. It's the treasure trove of Clan Vidmar. We thought it gone for good.
Pressed for the truth, Mirko admitted no family sentiment had prompted this expedition. The dwarf had planned to leave Mahakam and start a new life among humans. Yet he did not wish to do so without sizable capital.
I canna stand to stay here a moment longer. The days, all of them, they're identical. Rise with the first cockscrow, march in double file to the latrine, crap on command, 12 hours down the shaft and home to sleep.
Mirko complained.
Want a wifey? Put in an application, in triplicate. Care to snip your beard? Elders got to approve it. You want to add buttermilk, not cream, to your mushroom soup? Clan council's got to debate it. How's a dwarf not to get balmy?
I understand the lad, no two ways about it.
Gabor sighed.
But I feel it's my duty to remind yous that what Mirko's going and doing here, well, there are laws. Treasure's due the Elder-in-Chief, not to Mirko, that's one. Second, any dwarf that wants to leave Mahakam can't take nothing but his breeches, his dixie, and his coat. So, brief like, consider well afore you make your decision, Your Grace.
I sympathise, Mirko,
said Niamh.
but I'm a crowned head. I must decline. National interest requires I show the greatest possible care for my relations with Elder-in-Chief Hugh. Yet in aiding you, I could sour those greatly. I shall return the treasure to him, I must. While you do what you will.
Mirko Vidmar swore under his breath, then jostled his way through the Lyrian infantry and into the mountains, towards human lands.
Alright. Treasure. If there's another fucking battle, I'll go fucking crazy over here.
Frozen, all. Only the banner moves, blown by the wind.
Downright poetic. Prime material for a ballad, perhaps even a whole saga.
Okay then. I could have taken the treasure for myself, but what's the point? I have enough gold.
The Lyrians rode a narrow, winding path along the rocky ridge. To one side were ice-covered boulders, to the other, a chasm hundreds of feet deep.
They could have at least erected some barriers,
complained Gascon, knocking snow from his cap.
Got plans for that?
Gabor said.
Just need to decide how high to make them.
What?
Think. Should they be the height of your average dwarf or a human? The debate's gone on for 20 years. On the one hand, you've got...
Gabor did not finish his discussion. He was interrupted by the Baba Ghazi that jumped down from the rocks.
Archers, shoot! Aim for underbelly!
Meave's soldiers made quick work of the lone monster. But the sound of battle spooked the horses harnessed to one of her wagons.
Whoa there! Whoa, damn it!
The driver tried to rein in the animals, but could not. They dragged him into the chasm along with his cart and the soldiers riding in it. They landed a few dozen feet below on a rocky outcropping. A moment later, Baba Ghazis swarmed everywhere.
Did you see how they fared? Anyone left alive?
Asked Meave, leaning over the cliff edge.
Worry more about their cargo.
Gascon replied.
They were also carrying chests of gold.
Blast. We can't get down there. Too steep and the snow keeps falling.
We can lower ourselves down a line. But without armor, shields, or heavy weapons, otherwise it will snap.
And the Baba Ghazis?
The Queen said, brow raised.
We shan't kill them with daggers. They're too thick of armor.
We'll have to try. Or continue on our way.
You only live once.
Meave sighed.
Gascon, round up some volunteers and let us move out.
Moments later, the Queen was lowering herself down a line straight towards the gaping maw of a Baba Ghazi. Her only armor, a woolen shirt.
Oh, this is gonna be fun, wasn't it? Special rules. We fight. What a fun day to fight this.
Careful! No one try to be a hero!
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
The chase is on!
Slippery up here, and it's a bloody long way down.
One boat's all I need.
Bereft of sword and shield, Meave could not withstand a single blow. She thus danced atop the frozen snow, deftly dodging the Baba Ghazi's lightning-fast strikes, while delivering but a few well-aimed hits of her own, to their eyes, ears, and gaping jaws. When the last monster fell lifeless to the ground, Meave walked up to the shattered wagon. The soldiers it had carried were bruised, frostbitten, but alive.
Your Grace, we were sure you'd leave us.
A good ruler never abandons her folk.
Nor her gold.
Gascon interjected, while securing a rope to a chest. Soon enough, all were safely back on the path. The admiration Meave saw in her soldiers' eyes was in itself sufficient reward for her difficult battle.
Alright, making progress. Still need lumber. Puzzle, you say? Destroy the Stone Tower Resident Hero. Garf rocks too. Units whose armor is reduced to 0 are destroyed. Every turn, draw a card. Alright, shouldn't be difficult.
Scurvy scratches!
You've sailed into troubled waters, mate.
I am here to lend a helping hand.
Alright, it's done. Was that Gwent or Heroes or Hearthstone? Blizzard.
Welcome with me. Goodness. Welcome to me inn.
Alright. Indeed, so I guess that was a game of Hearthstone. Replete to the inn and Dwarf. I have a ludicrous amount of gold.
Hefty mantle of fresh snow today. Got a blow before too long. Bring a rush down. Oh, cold as a push. Braving the snow in those mega courts, are ye? Truly. Snowfall. Snowfall.
Alright. Can this game fucking stop? Bloody hell. I'm honestly tired. I'm exhausted. Beyond exhausted even. I'm finished. Battle after battle, puzzle after puzzle, unending. Don't let any more of your soldier get seized. Oh, okay, sorry. I kind of... Yeah, I think I understand it now. There we go. A bit annoying, but it worked. It was their row, not mine, that I had to worry about the 4 units. Alright, there's another battle there. Wonderful. What is this? Well, guess I know where the treasure is.
Niamh now witnessed a sorry sight. A mass funeral for miners killed due to a tragic convergence of events. Their lead caskets lay upon the snow, wreaths of hop cones laid upon them in turn. The mourners waited for the diggers to finish. The digging was tough, for the ground was frozen. As the crunch and thud of picks and shovels continued, the dead miner's foreman scrambled onto a boulder to make a speech. Angry shouts and loud booing stopped him.
You knew it! You knew they'd smell vapors, but you ordered them to keep digging till it blew up in their faces!
Make the daily quota whatever the cost, eh?
You've blood on your mitts, whoreson!
A mourner then picked up a chunk of frozen ground and threw it at the foreman. Blood spurted from the gash that appeared on his forehead. The first dirt chunk was followed by another, then by a rock, a brick. Niamh realized that if she did not intervene, the foreman stood to be stoned to death. Something had to be done quickly. Niamh saw this clearly. She spurred her mount and rode into the cemetery, pushing through the throng, then stopping before the foreman, the horse shielding him from further blows.
Calm yourselves! Silence! His guilt cannot be decided here. It must!
Before Niamh could finish her plea, a large rock thrown from the crowd struck her bosom, nearly knocking her from her saddle. Upon seeing this, her Lyrian escort lowered spears and drew swords and rushed at the angry mourners.
Oh, this is good.
Isbel cried out. Her hands began to radiate a fierce light that blinded both dwarves and Lyrians alike.
Have you lost your minds, all of you together? Not had your fill of misfortune yet? Lower your arms at once.
Whether the power of Isbel's magic or the force of her appeal had the greater effect is difficult to say for certain. Either way, both sides suddenly lost the desire to fight. Niamh breathed a sigh of relief, aware that if not for Isbel's intervention, a great amount of blood would have been spilled at that cemetery.
Knew there'd be a stink. Well, we may have gotten a wee bit carried away. Well...
A bit? Huh. Well, I need the wood, and the wyvern is blocking my path. Large creature swooped down from the sky and plucked an unfortunate infantryman. His blood was splattered. Alright, we fight. Oh, I hate fighting monsters. Because they all have fucking harpies. Or neckers. It's one of those two, isn't it?
Slings, they hide well.
Left, right, left, right.
Oh, could murder a pint.
Yeah, yeah!
Again and again and again.
Alright, more enemies. Solano. No, Archgriffin.
One boat's all I need.
Hey?
As always, annoyed.
I think you'll really like this one.
Give me a tap. Arbalist at your command.
Alright.
So much anger and suffering. For what?
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Alright, another one. Not as much lumber as I would have hoped, to be honest. But such is the way of things. 21,000 gold, 706 wood. Well, it's kinda expected, I meant.
The Lyrians ascended the highest section of the Mahakam Range. Snow crunched under their boots, cold air stung their lungs, and the wind snapped at their cloaks. Meve wiped sweat from her brow and turned to Reynard.
There! By the rocks! We shall...
The rest of her words were drowned out by a powerful blast. The entire mountain rumbled with a low, vibrating roar. The sound grew louder, echoing off the rocks, splitting their ears. The Lyrians looked around, disoriented. Few heard Gabor's warning.
Dinna just stand there! Get behind a rock! Quick! Hurry!
Meve followed the dwarf's gaze and cried out in terror. The snow stuck to the mountainside had started to slide down the slope, sending up mists of icy dust. Before she could react, the white torrent knocked her to her knees, crushing her and smothering her into the ground. All she felt after that was all-encompassing cold and fear. Meve survived. The dwarves who ran to the Lyrian's rescue dug her out of the snow in time. Some of her soldiers were not so lucky. The queen looked at their bodies, blue, frozen. Next to them lay dead horses, demolished wagons. The losses were enormous. Meve wiped her cheek. Her tears burned her frozen skin. Gabor spoke a while with the leader of the Mahakam guard patrol that had come to their rescue. His face was dour.
What? What have you learned?
I tell you all in good time. First, you need a warm drink, good victuals.
No, Gabor. I need to find out what in blazes happened here.
Well, it was an avalanche.
Of course it was an avalanche. I'm no fool. But what caused it? What was that noise?
Signal horns. Ours.
So you brought this snow down on us? Dwarves!
Well, aye, but, unawares.
Explain, in brief.
See, we clean our mount regularly. The way menfolk shovel snow off their roofs. Otherwise, the whole shebang would come tumbling down on our heads. When snow's gathered deep enough, we'd blast our horns to cause a controlled avalanche. Then we need to, sweep up a wee bit and the road's safe.
All well and good, but why did you decide to clean up right as I was passing through?
Wondering that myself. Schedule says next cleaning should have been a week frae now. But someone asked the route to be cleared earlier.
Who?
Meve, I'll tell you. But first, promise you'll...
Who?
Hey. Owain ep Glenvog, the Nilfgaardian emissary. Must have found out you'd be going through.
The bastard. Reynard! Reynard!
Wait! Wait! I understand you're a wee bit upset, you've every right. But you'll never prove Owain meant you harm. The sly weasel make sure he didn't dirty his own paws.
I've no such scruples. I'll find him and kill him.
And then? How'd you tell that tale to Bruva? Meve, you're justly torped, but for the love, just this once, let it go. Or you'll leave Mahakam with near a scrap to show for it.
Moments later, scouts reported Owain was camped to the north of the accident site. Meve had to decide how much she was willing to risk to get her revenge on the Imperial emissary.
Well, well, well. I'll fucking...
By the elder sideburns, I'd no notion anyone was in the village. Nilfgaard... What a man. Nilfgaardian said the road was clear.
There, milady,
whispered one of the scouts.
Left of the path.
Meve squinted. The Nilfgaardians had taken shelter from the falling snow under a rocky outcropping. The smell of roasting meat wafted from their campfire, and echoes of laughter could be heard. The black-clad soldiers had reason to celebrate. They had just decimated Meve's company without even drawing their weapons. Meve's gaze caught something else. A metal container into which the Nilfgaardians tossed bones once they'd been gnawed clean. It looked strangely familiar. Only after a moment did the Queen understand it was an overturned Lyrian helmet dug out of the snowy grave of one of her men.
The whoresomes.
Meve hissed.
They'll pay for this.
Meve! Asking you last time, keep a cool head,
whispered Gabor.
You want vengeance? I get it. But think of the cost. If so much as a hair gets plucked from Owain's head, Bruver will never forgive you, and you can kiss any hope of aid goodbye.
Silence followed, finally to be broken by one of the scouts.
Milady, what's the order? Do we attack?
Oh, I want to make them pay. I really do.
No,
said the Queen after long deliberation.
But milady, they...
I know what they did. and that I shall never forget nor forgive.
Said Meve, placing a hand on her scout's shoulder.
But breaking Dwarven law only plays into the Nilfgaardian's hand, causing us to lose allies and our chance for victory.
Meve brushed the snow from her trousers and straightened her spine.
Avenge our comrades we shall. Not here, but in the fields of Lyria and Rivia.
The Lyrians resumed their march with heavy, beleaguered steps. Their path still piled high with the snow brought down by the Nilfgaardians.
Well, there was some treasure there that I could have picked up.
While passing the mining settlement of Kolstog, Meve heard the sounds of battle.
Hey-ho! Into the fray, lads!
Expecting she would see monsters swarming dwarves, the queen set off at a gallop to the rescue. Her braid blew about in the wind like a banner, showing her men in which direction to attack. The dwarves she saw, however, were not engaged in a battle against Shaelmars and Barbagazes. No, they were going at one another. Luckily, no weapons had yet been drawn, but given the dwarves have hands the size of bread loaves, this did not necessarily mean there would be no deaths.
Oi, lads!
Roared Gabor Zigrin.
What's this foolishness? Calm the hell down, damn it!
Gabor's intervention proved successful. The dwarves limited themselves to verbal jousting. Meve, who was no stranger to barrack room talk, nonetheless turned crimson at the dwarves' cursing. Piecing together the obscenities, Meve concluded they were debating an old quarrel about the height of a certain mountain, or rather of the twin peaks atop it. One of them lay in the territory of Clan Dahlberg, while the other in the Hoogsland. Each family felt their peak was the highest, all measurements indicating the contrary being total fabrications.
Queen?
Started Gabor, nervously chewing his moustache.
They're asking if you, as yin impartial and a fair-minded wench to boot, wouldn't you wish to settle their Egypt squabble once and for all?
Meve knew well that this type of age-old quarrel could easily end in bloodshed, so she resolved to help. Representatives of the two clans gave her a strange mechanism she was to use to measure elevation. All that was left was for the queen to button her coat up to the neck and scale the twin peaks.
Time to end this delicate feud, once and for all.
When she and her force had traveled half the way to the first, she heard a long roar that made snow shelves detach and descend. Without waiting for her scouts to return with reports, Meve drew her sword.
Wonderful, another battle. Let's do it then. Thankfully, it's only one round. I guess it's better.
Eyes up, lads! They're flying straight for us!
Ah!
Alright, the armor on the dog is over. Oof.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Oh yes, Gascon. I most certainly thought that it was gonna get dull with you here.
Left, right.
Quite the clever little contraption they gave us. Work of a gnome, of course.
How about
will you
you
ever
focus
learn?
on, you know, staying alive? Just an idea.
One bolt I need.
Oh, damn, bro. They're, pretty fucking dangerous, actually.
Give me a target.
Shit.
For you, pal, anything.
Well, this has been a bloodbath.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
Crap. Alright. Nope. Try again.
Eyes up, lads! They're flying straight for us!
Army's a waste of time for one like me. Left, right, left, right.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
Armor won't save.
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
It's not too late to walk away.
Tell me you jest. What do you want of me?
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Quite the clever little contraption they gave us. Work of a gnome, of course.
One bolt's all I need.
You sure about that?
Alright, I'm just slaughtering their cards at this point.
Getting to work.
I'm just gonna wait for more of them to be deployed before I call in more cards.
We'll catch them all!
Alright, and this. Two more.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Alright, victory.
Take those measurements and let's be gone from this place.
The Lyrians managed to repel the monsters and reach both peaks. Upon each, Meve ordered her men to take the measurements. While waiting, she admired the breathtaking view of the Mahakaman Massif. The dwarven contraption left no room for doubt. The peak within the Dahlberg clan territory was 2 feet higher than that within Hoog territory. Gabor was clearly displeased with the results.
Damn it all! I'd hope you'd prove Brewer's clan was in the right. He'd have been content to see the Dalbergs knocked down a peg or two, and, possibly, he'd have been more inclined to help you,
said the dwarf in frustration. Then, after a pause, he added,
Although, only you saw what the device showed, Queen. Perhaps you could, recalibrate the results a wee bit?
Alas, no matter the result I give, half the dwarves will be displeased.
said the Queen, after considering.
Thus, if we err in taking the measurements, no great harm will be done, and the benefit to us could be significant.
Gabor just nodded in agreement. The Queen issued the relevant orders and took the four in the march down the mountainside. The dwarves of both clans had been waiting with bated breath for the expedition's return and report. As soon as Meave announced the results, the Hoogs rolled barrels of beer out into the square and began to celebrate. Naturally, the Dalbergs were disappointed, yet they accepted Meave's results as final. At last, they had come to trust her.
All right then. Keep going. I've had enough of this nonsense.
For frostbite? Lo, once with lo, snotters are frozen solid. Not just those in my beard, like up my nose too.
As Meave neared Langbridge, she ordered her bugler to announce her arrival, then retired to her tent to freshen up. Gascon was already inside, awaiting her.
I do not seem to recall summoning you.
In that case, I must tell you to fret not. Nothing wrong with your memory. I've come with no agenda. Spontaneously, call it, to chat.
Then I propose you leave. Just as spontaneously, call it. I must don fresh clothes. I'm to see the Elder soon, and I'd prefer to not smell of horse sweat.
Doubt it'd make much difference to him. And be assured, I know what I speak of. When last we met, I found myself standing downwind of him. A pungent experience.
Well, you were saved the experience of his breath. So pungent I thought I might faint.
Well, to revive you, pinch you awake, I'm sure would be quite a pleasure.
Gascon, I beg your pardon. Ugh, I shall have nightmares now.
Not tonight. For I fear you might not sleep at all. You see, there's something you ought to know. And decidedly before you meet with Brewer. The sites we cleared of beasts. I ferreted a bit. Noted something peculiar. Any notion what it was?
None. The monumental dwarven architecture, perhaps?
Bones, my dear Meave. Dwarven bones. Now, guess what I found on them?
Wait, don't dare give me any hints. Bite marks.
Of course. After all, they'd been gnawed clean of all flesh by monsters, incidentally making it quite easy to spot other markings. Ones made by axes and swords. To be certain, I showed the bones to our medics, and they confirmed my conclusion.
Meaning what? That the entire clan, the Fuchses,
did not perish due to an invasion of beasts from the depths. The monsters merely ate the bodies and occupied empty homes. Now, I shared my discovery with Gabor, and guess what he did? He panicked. He started to squirm, babble nonsense. I wager my right arm he's hiding something.
Blast. Overly eager to aid us from the start he was. I might have sensed something. I shall have him summoned at once. And I thank you, Gascon. I won't forget this.
Minutes later, Gabor stood before the Queen. At first, he tried to mislead her with evasive answers, but as her pointed questions demolished one clumsy excuse after another, he had to give in.
Oi. As King Desmond said after a hefty squirt in his hose, we can't sweep this under the rug.
If you think I welcome jests in this moment, you err. My fingers itch to summon the hangman.
Right. So... 'Tis true. I misled you. On our clan elder's orders, supposed to make sure you destroyed Burr's Rump and Davor's Abyss thoroughly enough to leave nae trace.
What? Why? What did they wish to hide?
They was home to the Fuchses, our mortal enemies. They'd been a-boiling our heinies for ages, thumbing their noses, taking what they want when they want. And the Elder-in-Chief didn't gie a ploughing whit. So to stop them, our clan, we did the unpardonable. The Ziggurin elders saw their chance and they...
Gods. So you were responsible for the deaths of all those dwarves?
Me? I didn't raise a finger. Tried to stop them, in fact.
No witnesses survived, meaning you must have murdered the entire clan. How?
Queen, you sure you...
I am. And you should be sure to answer in full, omitting no detail.
A few years back, we got pummeled by a horrendous winter. Stone-breaking frosts, whiteout storms, avalanches. Made travelling a painful form of suicide. Hunger drove beasts out of their dens. Pass was covered in the filth. Got to where they paced rout outside the walls. Fuchses fought a hard, bloody fight to keep the critters out of Davor's Abyss. Lost near every axe-wielding dwarf they had. Only survivors had to winter at Burr's Rump. Our elders felt such an opportunity wouldn't knock again. After killing the town's meagre guard, they set fire to it and barricaded the gates. They didn't stand a chance.
Bastards. How in the world did the truth go undiscovered?
Once it were over, our dwarves opened the gates. Before they'd lit their pipes, starving beasts came crawling out of the pass. The stank of dead flesh was strong. Zigrins who came back from that never were the same. If you'd only gandered their gaze when they had us all take a vow of silence. And then...
You invented that blarney about primeval monstrosities the Fuchses had awoken by mining too deep. A riveting tale, and one with a moral to boot.
Aye. But the elders worried Brewer would suspect something all the same. That's why they wanted you to destroy all the evidence.
Repugnant. You claim not to have taken part, but neither did you do anything to stop the massacre.
What was I to do exactly? The elders had decided. Nae a dwarf would listen to me.
You might have informed the Elder-in-Chief. The guilty would have been punished.
The guilty? You didn't ken Brewer. He'd punish the whole clan. Women, children. Nae exceptions. Maeve, Queen. I'm begging you. He canna ever learn of this. Aye, I want a hack flame too when I think what the elders done. But t'other way it'd bring but more pain and death.
I need to consider what's right. Meanwhile, Gascon, make sure Gabor remains our guest.
Of course. I'll let you know if he so much as rolls his eyes towards an escape route.
Wonderful. Not surprising, but wonderful. Costin Sani.